everyone. I'm Dr. Leslie Kernisan, board-certified geriatrician and the founder of the website betterhealthwhileaging.net. And this is the Helping Older Parents video podcast, where I cover the best ways to support aging parents and other older loved ones so they can live better lives in their later years. I also often address common caregiving concerns and dilemmas, like what to do if you're worried about an older person's memory or safety, how to deal with Alzheimer's and other forms of dementia, and how to help your older loved one get the care they need. In this episode, I'm going to address another frequently asked question about older loved ones with memory loss. And that is, how can you convince your aging parent to see a doctor for their memory loss if they've been refusing to go? Now, if you've been watching my video series, you've heard me say several times that it's really important that older adults with memory loss get medically evaluated. After all, memory loss and thinking problems are not normal aging. They are a sign of brain malfunction, and so we need a medical evaluation to figure out what might be causing the brain to not be functioning well. However, it's extremely common for people with memory loss to be reluctant to see a doctor for this kind of problem. And so this often becomes a cause of recurring arguments with an aging parent or another older loved one. You want them to see the doctor about their memory or thinking changes, but they get upset when you bring it up, or they think it's not necessary, or perhaps they tell you this is none of your business. This sometimes leads people to wonder if it really is all that important for their parent to get the medical evaluation. If you've been wondering that, then please be sure to watch my recent episode in which I explain the many benefits to your older loved one and your family of getting a memory loss evaluation. But now, let's get back to the practical issue. How do you get them evaluated if they're refusing to see the doctor? So, first and foremost, if your older loved one is refusing to get evaluated, I would recommend backing off for a bit. Then, try having some gentle conversations to make sure you understand how they see their memory loss situation. For more on how to have these conversations, be sure to watch the episode in which I talk about how to talk to your aging parent or older loved one about their memory loss. But in general, if you're feeling stuck with your aging parent when it comes to this situation, I always recommend that you back off, take a deep breath, and then try to understand them better and connect with them. Once you've done that and reflected on what you learned from those conversations, you can again try to step in and have a talk in which you'll be encouraging them to do something or agree to something. Now, let's assume you've had some conversations with them and you've gotten a sense of how they see their situation. As I mentioned in an earlier episode, often the reluctance to see a doctor about memory loss is related to things like feeling embarrassed by the problems they're experiencing, thinking it's normal to get memory loss with getting older, thinking there's nothing that can be done for memory problems in aging, being afraid that it might be Alzheimer's or another type of dementia, feeling afraid that they might lose their independence or be told things like they can't drive, they'll need to move out of their home, or that they'll have to start accepting help. Or, in many cases, the issue can be that they're lacking insight into their difficulties. They're simply unaware of them or they keep forgetting what has happened. Once you've put some time into trying to connect with your parent to understand how they see their memory loss situation, you should have a better sense of which of those factors is behind your parent's reluctance to see a doctor. And then, to encourage your parent to get medically evaluated, once it's time to step in and see if you can help them get that evaluation, you'll want to use approaches that are mindful of what you've learned about your parent. So for instance, if it turns out that your older parent is afraid that the doctor's visit might result in them losing independence, you could frame seeing the doctor as something that's likely to help them maintain independence. Let me now take you through 5 specific tactics that you can consider when encouraging your aging parents to get medically evaluated for their memory loss. So, number 1. Frame the evaluation as a way for your parent to achieve their goals. So for instance, if your parent values being able to live in their own home for as long as possible, which is something that many people want, you can say something like, I know how important to you it is to stay in good shape so that you can keep living here as long as possible. So let's check with the doctor to make sure we're doing everything we can to keep your mind and body working well. Okay. Idea number 2. Avoid framing it as a dementia or Alzheimer's evaluation. Why? Because these terms are often intensely alarming to older adults. So instead, consider framing things more reassuringly. For instance, you could say it's pretty common for people to struggle a little bit more with things as they age, but that you've learned that it's often related to medications or certain treatable medical conditions. Remind your parent that getting this addressed early will help them be able to continue to live at home or will enable them to keep doing something that is important to them. Idea number 3. See if they'll do it as a favor to you. Most people don't like being the person who needs help, but older adults are often willing to do something to help others. So sometimes it works to ask them to do it for you. Be sure to shower them with appreciation and gratitude if you go this route. Idea number 4 is enlist your parent's doctor as an ally. This can be a good option if your parent has a well-established relationship with a doctor they respect. If the doctor is willing to recommend that your parent come in, that can carry a lot of weight with some older adults. Idea number 5, enlist another trusted person or authority figure to be an ally. Aging adults are often more willing to consider recommendations from someone who is not their adult child. This could be another family member, a trusted friend, a religious leader, such as a pastor, minister, priest, or rabbi, or it could be a professional, such as an attorney or financial advisor. Just ask yourself, whose opinion does my parent particularly trust or value? And then see if that person would be willing to gently encourage the medical evaluation. So those are 5 ideas that you can consider. In general, when it comes to encouraging a reluctant older person to get evaluated for memory loss, I think about things like, how can we avoid triggering their fears? How can we be reassuring and encouraging? How can we frame this as a way to help them get something that is important to them? Whose opinion do they already trust and value? So keep those ideas in mind as you encourage your parent to get that memory loss evaluation. Now, bear in mind that if your parent has memory loss and has been reluctant to see a doctor, it's probably going to take several conversations and efforts at encouragement before you see progress. So if you don't succeed at first, don't give up. Just give it a little time and then try again, perhaps using a different tactic. However, in some cases, even when you are using good communication techniques and persisting, some aging parents will still adamantly refuse to get evaluated. If this is the case, you may need to consider whether their memory or thinking problems have advanced to the point at which they are losing their decision-making capacity. Now, questions of incapacity and its related term, incompetence, are complicated, so I won't be able to cover them right now in this episode. But if you'd like to learn more, I have an article on better health while aging that covers this topic, and I'll link to it below and in the show notes. I also cover this issue in my course, Helping Older Parents with Memory Loss. For now, I'll just say that if your cognitively impaired aging parent continues to refuse evaluation despite your best efforts, then the next steps will probably come down to whether it might be justified to override them and what are your options for doing so. This often takes a while to sort out, because in my experience, there's generally no easy way to get an older person to do something they really don't want to do. And this can be deeply frustrating for families. If that's you, I want to tell you something that I think is really important for you to keep in mind while you're on this journey with your aging parent. And that is this. It's actually not your job to make all the right things happen for your parent. Yes, it would be so much better for them to get medically evaluated. And yes, I'm here to encourage you to try to make it happen and to give you some tools that will improve your chances. But in the end, what happens with your aging parent will often be out of your control. So if you're feeling frustrated, remember to focus on what you can control. And that is how you show up for your parent, how you talk to them, and how you try to help, whether or not it works out the way you want it to. Your job right now is to care, to show up and accompany your aging parent during this challenging phase of their life, and to learn how to be a better helper. And you're doing just that by watching these videos and by otherwise learning more about how to help older loved ones with memory loss. So with that, thank you so much for watching. We geriatricians couldn't do what we do without you. And if you found this video helpful, if you're here on YouTube, please go ahead and subscribe. It helps more people find the channel. If you've been listening to the audio version on the podcast feed, I hope you'll come and take a look at the video when you get a chance. You'll see my key points being displayed on the screen. So, thank you, take care, and I look forward to seeing you all again on a future episode of the Helping Older Parents video podcast.